Hey everyone, welcome back to Zero to Cloud. My name is Rakesh, and, and this is our day 4 video in the Google Cloud Foundational series. And in this video, we are going to talk about VPC Peering and Shared VPC, two very useful networking concepts in Google Cloud. So, what VPC network peering is? Think of it like this: you and your friend each have your own Wi-Fi network at home, but you want to share files privately without using the public internet. So VPC peering does exactly that. Between two Google Cloud network, it connects them privately using internal IPs only. I'll give you an example. Let's say company A and company B needs to share data securely. So instead of going through the public internet, they will peer their network. So company A will have particular network, a network A, and company B will have network B. So rather than sending their private files directly through internet, they will peer their uh, private network A with private network 2, and they will share their file securely. So look at this diagram here. So here you can see that uh, it's it's uh, it's it's under project deployment. So there are two VPC network, VPC network 1 and VPC network 2. So VPC network 1 is it US Central 1 and another VPC is it US West 3. And each VPC have one VIA associated with it. So to communicate with each other, let's say compute engine under VPC A wants to communicate with compute engine which is under VPC 2. So how they can do that? So they will just do VPC peering between one private cloud network with another network. So once the VPC peering is done, they can communicate with each other and they will not require any public IPs. So with the private IPs, they can communicate with each other. So why we want to use VPC peering? What benefit does it offer? So without using internet, so there is no need of internet, and traffic will stay inside your Google private backbone. Like it will be there in the Google network itself, because you will be communicating with each other through VPC peering only. So there is no need of internet. So there will be very low latency, faster than VPN, or if you want to use external IP connections, or if you want to use public IPs. And each VPC keep its own firewall and routing, so they stay independent. Like each VPC have their own firewall rule, each routing, and last thing, no overlapping of IPs allowed. That means one VPC cannot use same IP range or the same IP address in the VPC2. So each IP should be different as compared to VPC. And last but important point, no transitive connection. That means if A is paired with B, and let's say A has VPC pairing with B VPC, and VPC B has pairing with VPC C. So that doesn't mean A can communicate with C. It will not happen. A will only able to communicate with B and B with A. As B also have VPC pairing with C, so B can communicate with C and C can communicate with B. But A cannot communicate with C and C also will not able to communicate with E, because they don't have peering connected with them. So I'll give you an example like how you can set up a peering. So let's say VPC network A sends a peering request to network B. So admin from network B accept the VPC peering request, and after that B will send a request to A, and A will accept that request. So once both this side accepted the peering request, so the VPC peering will become activated, and then both can communicate using internal IP addresses. So I hope you understand what VPC peering is and how VPC peering works and how we can set up VPC peering. Now we'll move to next topic, that is shared VPC. So what is shared VPC? So imagine you have an office where there are multiple departments, right? Let's say you have IT department, HR department, and a finance department. All are using same internet connection, right? But each still having its own computers, project. So that's how shared VPC works. One main network host project, you can say that, and which connects with many service projects which are under it. I'll give you an example. Let's say a guy manages multiple Google Cloud project, one for web apps, one for databases, one for testing. So instead of giving each project its own VPC, he will create a shared VPC where all project uses the same resource securely. So what that means is you will create one host VPC in one project, and then you will share that VPC with all the resource project, or you can call it as service project. So one host project can talk with all these service projects. So any users can use those host projects. So now I'll explain you. As you can see, there is a diagram for shared VPC. So I'll explain you that. So let's say, so you can see a hosted project which contain main VPC with two subnets. So you can see a hosted project containing main VPC. One is subnet 1 in US East 1, another one subnet 2 in US West 4. So that network is managed by network admins and secure admin, and they handle firewall rules and routes and permissions. Then we have service project A, B, and C with their own VM connected to that shared VPC. So here in hosted project we have created one shared VPC, and which is shared amongst all these three service projects: the service project A, service project B, and service project C. So they will use this shared VPC. So this setup allows all these service projects to use the same secure internal network, while this central team manages everything from one place, and it's a clean, secure, and perfect for big organization with multiple teams. So how it works? So one project here becomes the host project, and other project like database, for example, test projects, so they will become service project. And the one more thing, the shared VPC admin shares the specific subnets, and service project can create resources in those shared subnet. And the billing stays will be, the billing stay with the project that own the resources. So that means this service project which created multiple resources, the billing will be reside under them only because they are using those resources. So what benefit does it offers? So as this is centrally controlled, so security and policies are there in one place, easy to manage, and easier access control with IAM roles, simplified billing and network management, and it is scalable for large team or multi-department setups. So I think now you understand what shared VPC is, how it works. Now we can move to the demo part, where I'll show you how we can create VPC peering, how the setup works, and next how the shared VPC is created. Okay, as we have completed the theory now, now we'll move to our hands-on lab. So first we'll do what VPC peering is and how we can do the peering. So as I've already created some VM instances as well as some VPC networks. So I'll just open them in each tab. So as you can see that, like, I've created 4 VMs. So we'll do some testing before we do the VPC peering. So I'll tell you how VPC peering works, and before VPC peering, what issues we see. And I've also created a couple of networks as well. So I'll show you here. Okay, so I've created 3 networks here. So first, we'll try to SSH one of the instance, and we'll try to pick internal IP of another server to see if that is working or not. So let's start. Like, I'll try to log into mynet USVM, which is part of mynet VPC. Okay, so we are trying to SSH it to it. Okay, so we have now logged in into mynet USVM, and we'll try to ping the external IP of another VM. So as these two VMs reside in the same zone, however, this VM is in mynet VPC, and this VM is in private net VM, private net network. So I have given the name so that it is easy to understand that VM is in which VPC network. So as I've logged in to the mynet US VM, and we'll try to ping external IP of private net US VM. So we'll copy this from here, and we'll try to ping it. Ping. Okay, so as you can see, we are able to ping the external IP of another VM, but that is in different VPC. Now, our actual use case will try to ping the internal IP to see if those two VPCs can communicate with each other or not. So as I've copied the internal IP, I think I've closed this. Okay. Let's start pinging the internal IP of private net USVM from mynet USVM. Now, as you can see, we are not able to ping because the VM, this VM, private net USVM, is in different VPC, that is private net VPC, and mynet USVM is in mynet VPC. So those two VPCs, although both the VMs are in same zone, but both the VMs is in different VPC, so they cannot communicate with each other. So now we'll do the VPC peering, and after that, we'll try to pick the internal IP again, and at that time, it will ping successfully. So I'll show you that. So now let's close this, and we'll do the VPC peering. So for VPC peering, go to VPC network peering tab, which is under VPC network. So we'll pair both the VPC networks. So click on create connection. You will need the following info: the project ID if you are connecting to a VPC network in another project. But our case is not that. We have both the VPCs in same project, so first case is not required for us. And second, the name of the VPC network you want to pair with. So we'll use this. So we'll start with VPC. Let's say VPC A to VPC B. Okay. So I will start. I think, okay, capital is not allowed. So VPC A, VPC B. Okay. So we'll select the VPC network. First, we'll select the my network. It's in same project, and connect to private net. And we'll keep other setting as it is, and we'll click on create. So as we have created the VPC pairing from A network to B network, but in status it shows inactive. Why? Because you have to create VPC pairing from VPC B to A as well. Then only it will go to active status. So click on create pairing connection. We'll do VPC B, VPC B to VPC A. And then we use private net network capacities. Click on create. So see, now you can see both the status is in active because we made the connection or we made the VPC pairing from VPC A to B and then B to A. Now we'll try to ping the server to see if it actually works or not. So we'll log into VM again. Let's say I've again logged in into mynet US VM, which is under mynet VPC network. Meanwhile, we'll copy the internal IP of private net US VM and we'll try to ping this VM's public IP, the private IP from this VM. Try to ping. See, now as you can see, it is able to pick. That means the connection between VPC A to B is now successful and you can communicate with each other. So this is all about VPC peering and I hope you understand like how we can do the VPC peering and what effect it does. So now we can move into our demo for shared VPC. Okay, now we have completed the testing for VPC peering and I have shown you how VPC peering can be created. Now we can move into our next topic, that is shared VPC. However, for shared VPC, I will not able to show you exact how we can create shared VPC live because for shared VPC to work perfectly, we should have an organization created in Google Cloud, which I don't have because I have created this. I've created this Google account as my personal account, so where I don't have any organization created. So as you can see that here you can see that there is no organization. So we will not able to create shared VPC live here because it requires a host and service project for which we need to have GCP organization created. However, I'll show you a blog which is on Medium where it shows what steps we need to do and I will explain you how to follow those steps. So this is the blog which I was talking about. So here they have created the shared VPC. So I will explain you how each steps work and similar way if you have a Google account with organization created, so you can test this. So what you have to do first, so same thing, you have to click on VPC networks or the VPC network tab. So this is the tab I was talking about and you need to click on shared VPC. Okay, so here the same. So shared VPC. So as you can see, this is the host project. So they have created one project name called host project and where they are trying to set up a shared VPC. So when you click on shared VPC, so it gives you an option like this, enable host project. So here it will select the host project. So this is the same project, host project. So this is the same project ID, host project ID, and then click on save and continue. Next part will be select the subnet which you want to share with service projects. So in the host projects, they have created some subnets which they will share with service projects. So similar to this, let's say, consider this my project as a shared host project and I have created a VPC here So here I have created one VPC called Shared VPC. So in this Shared VPC, I have created one subnet. So name of the subnet is Shared VPC Subnet 1. So this is the subnet I am sharing with service project. So the same thing is here. Share all subnet, or even they can share individual subnets. So in this case, in the host project, they have created two subnet number 1 and subnet 2. One is in US East 1 region, another one is US Central 1 region. As you can see, the VPC network name is Shared VPC 1. So they are now sharing all these subnets. So next part is give permission. That means what is the service project ID to whom they are sharing this subnets with. So in this case, they have created one more project already, which is called service project, and the project ID is service project ID, and they are sharing those shared subnet with this service project ID. And plus select user by role. So they are selecting users by role, like these are the roles they are providing: compute instance admin, compute network admin, owner and editor, and they'll click on save. So once and the next would be yeah, this is the same like all subnet and the individual subnet. So we have already selected that, and once everything is selected, let's say everything has been selected and shared VPC is created. Now, how the service project can access those shared subnets? So how they can do it? So they are creating one instance under service project, and they will try to share they will try to access that shared subnet. So you can see here in the shared subnet tab. So in the edit network interface tab, so there are two options: network in the project. Either you can select the VPC network which is in their project, but our case is like we have to use shared subnets. So in that case, you need to select networks shared with me from host project, and this is the host project ID. And in the shared subnet, he has selected subnet 2 as a subnet, and based on that, VM is created. So this is the way of first create the shared subnets, and then share the subnet with service project, and then service project will use those shared subnet. I hope you understand this. I can understand, like I was not able to show you this in practical, but the diagram which is here, this is the exact steps you need to follow on Google Cloud. If you if you feel any issues, or you are getting stuck in any of the steps here, you can comment on the YouTube videos, so that I can go and check the comments, and based on your issue, I will reply to you. Or either if the issues are like if multiple users are facing similar kind of issues, then I will create a separate video where I'll troubleshoot the issues. Thank you.